this party started, as Matt just said. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to another Friday night live stream. And it's been a crazy work week for me at my day job, so I hope you all had a great week. But as always, I'm going to give this a minute, let everybody filter in. Really no topic tonight other than I noticed that I got emails today saying my tax returns were accepted. So hopefully that tax money will be coming back and I can start building the fish garage. So that's the biggest bonus I've had this week, is that it got accepted. So that's just one step closer to that return. And hopefully I can get started on that project. So first things first would be the shed. I need a new shed so I can move my car junk out of the garage, put it in the shed, and then I can start redoing the garage. But glad to see everybody here. IHSP's here, and I know you said that you are feeling better today from your surgery, so that's good to hear. Looks like Mr. Fisher was the first person here. Good to see you. And everybody else that's starting to filter in. Good to see you guys. Adele's here. Hello, Adele. Hope you're doing well. Who else? Texas Fish Room. Good to see you. So I'm just waiting for fish and shipping. You know, it's an email I get every week, and I try to update you guys every week as I think about it. I'm just waiting now for the cold weather snap to kind of dissipate. We're in single-digit temperatures up here in the Midwest, so it's just too cold to ship fish right now. And I think the post office is finally kind of caught up on all their holiday packages. I notice as I go to the post office to drop off orders, there's a little bit less people there every week, so that's a good sign. Up until probably a week or two ago, it's been like a line out the door like all day long. And I have to park on the street versus their parking lot because it's that busy, where last fall I could just pull right up to the front door. So that's kind of a sign that shipping's going a little quicker now, and maybe a little less people are shipping, which is also good for e-commerce businesses. But yeah, so I'm hoping to ship here soon. I'm slowly trying to get some fish in, and actually let me pull up this list. I know the main fish I want to get, but let me grab some of the other ones. I want to start bringing in some, not some, but more Corydoras. So I always try to stock the common ones, which are the albinos and the green emeralds. And in case you don't know, the green Corydoras and the albinos is actually the same fish. The albino is just the variant of that fish. But they're very, very popular, so I always try to keep them. And I picked up more of those, I don't know when that was, 2 weeks ago. This week, I went to go get some Corydoras concolors, and they were out. And it wasn't that they were out, they sent out the wholesale list to me right before they went to go get their wholesale order, and the fish weren't in that order that day. They weren't coming until, actually they were supposed to be there yesterday, so I need to call them and see if they have them, because he asked me how many I wanted to buy, and I told him, and it turns out I want like half of his order. So I want a lot of them, as long as they're like decent size and not like pencil leads. But let me get this list up, because if any of you guys are looking for some certain Corydoras, I'll show you what I'm trying to get. So there's actually two different wholesale lists specifically for the Corydoras that I'm trying to go for, and it kind of depends on what's available each week. And another bonus is transshipping. I noticed it's starting to come back around. That's also a good sign. That means they're starting to get more and more flights. I'm going to zoom in here real quick as soon as I can find it. So like the Julie eyes, those sell really well, so I'll probably get some more of those. Pygmy Corys, Pygmy habrosus, but I want to get the red sailfin Venezuelans, the true Venezuelan, which is the concolor. Maybe this wasn't maybe some bandit cories. Stir-bys on the list. I've never kept stir-bys. They look awesome, so I think I might pick up a few. But the biggest one I want to get, and the reason I'm going to place an order with this company, is they have green lasers right now. Now, they're super expensive Corydoras, but they are awesome. But they have some in stock. I don't know how many I'll be able to buy because they are expensive. But they do have them right now, so that's super awesome. I do want to get some green laser Corydoras. I don't know if the other list is super accessible. Let me see if I can get to it. It might be a little boring for you guys, but it might be a little bit of a heads up for what I'm trying to get in. Matt with the 614 super chat, he says, "Burr." Yeah, it's cold. Patty's here. Hello, Patty. Fish and Floral, good to see you, everybody. HSP said, "I totally forgot. Hi, Steven." Well, hello. Are stir-by the ones that look patchy colored like rock camo? No. I think I know what you're talking about. Let me... That's not what I wanted. That's not what I was thinking. But anyways, the stir-by is kind of like silver body, but it's got like black, maybe it's black body with silver like dots. I don't know, they look good. I like them. They're pretty popular. So I've been trying to get more less popular things. That kind of seems to be what people are requesting. So that's the route I'm kind of trying to go. And I just love Corydoras, so that's one of the other reasons. That's the wrong list. I'm trying to think of the Corydoras that you're talking about. I just did like a camouflage Corydoras search on Google. And nothing's like popping out right now as far as names. You might be thinking about the peppered Cory. They kind of have like black splotches on them and kind of a greenish body, so that may be a peppered Cory. Yeah, okay. Let me get back in the chat and see what is going on. Dell said, "How's little Bruce doing?" He's doing good. He's got a crap ton of ramshorn snails in his tank. I don't know if he's using them as like a main food source yet. I'm hoping he will, because that's a free food source for me to give him, but I'm still feeding him mysis shrimp. Mr. Fisher, I was the first to say hi. How did I get overlooked? Well, I did say that you were the first one here. How's everybody's Friday nights? A balmy Saturday here. It's freaking cold. I think it's supposed to get down to, oh, what did they say, 15 degrees right now? Somewhere around there. Pretty chilly. But Monday and Tuesday we have some sort of snowstorm coming. I think they said we're supposed to get like, it's nothing major, like 6 inches of snow overnight. So Tuesday going to work's going to suck, just because nobody here knows how to drive in the snow. But 6 inches is a lot of fun for me. Don't take that the wrong way. 6 inches of snow is a lot of fun with my truck. I like to go drifting and do donuts and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah. Yep, I see the laughing faces. As soon as I said it, I knew. I knew it. Okay, so here's the other Corydoras. Neon Reds, C115 Corys, Sturvey albinos, white pandas, Reynolds longnose, Melani. I really like the Melanis. And these other ones, honestly, I'm not very good at pronouncing. I know, I'm terrible at pronouncing some of these fish names. Elysiae, maybe. Revolti. Oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher this one. Sepritrinalis. Something like that. I'm terrible with them. But anyways, that's on the other list, and there's a few other ones where their names are so crazy I'm not even going to try to pronounce them. I know that the names are super crazy, and therefore I know that I don't see those online or people talking about them that much, because a lot of the names I know how to pronounce is just from hearing other people say it correctly, because I usually pronounce it wrong. And these other ones, I've never heard of any other YouTubers pronounce them, so I'm guessing there are less comments. I want to jump on them, and we'll see how it goes. Let me close this out. All right. Yep. Adele, you're killing me today. Adele, I knew. Yep, I knew. Gnarly Fish Tank says, needing some good vibes. Fish order was supposed to be here today. Won't be here until Monday. And overnight lows this weekend, single digits by me. Not looking good. Alright, so with my experience on that, I've had that happen where fish were supposed to arrive on a Friday and they didn't show up. Well, actually, it was Zen Gingers. They were supposed to show up on, I think, Thursday, and they didn't show up till Monday. And luckily they survived, but that was over the summer and not super low temperatures. Unfortunately, I would suspect that, or prepare for the worst and hope for the best on that. I would say your percentage is kind of high that they're not going to make it. Heat packs only last for so long, and a lot of companies, if they overnight ship, they might only use a 24-hour heat pack because they're cheaper. When I ship 2 days, I still use 72-hour heat packs just in case there's a delay. Other than right now, my heat packs are only 48 hours instead of 72, so I think they're only 48 hours. They're a lot less. I think they're 48 hours, but for some reason 40 hours is sticking in my head. Maybe they're 40-hour heat packs. Anyways, because 72 hours, they're just not available. No one had them. So I was like, I need something for shipping plants, at least, because I'm still shipping plants. But even with a 72-hour heat pack, and when it's that cold, it's tough. So the packages at least will be in a building over the weekend, but more than likely they won't be in like a hot building. Sometimes if the boxes are marked live fish, if the post office is a nice post office or warehouse, they'll move it into a climate controlled part of the building. I know that at least my distribution center here in Columbus, that's what they do, is because like when you go to ship something, you have to mark it like live fish or not. Through my software, it actually doesn't let me do that, but I plaster labels all over the box that say live fish. But they do have a heated area that they'll move live animals, because a lot of farmers ship one-day-old chicks through the mail, and that's why they kind of have that set up. It's nothing, I don't think it's like a guarantee thing, but I know my local place has a heated area that they'll move those packages to. Steve said, what's cooking, Steven? Well, another Friday night. Just kind of taking one day at a time. Steven waits for no one. Uh-oh. Was I supposed to wait for somebody? I don't know if I was supposed to wait for somebody. Oh, you're talking about the live stream. Yep, 8:30. I'm trying to. The biggest thing with YouTube is to be consistent. So I'm trying to be consistent on that 8:30 start time. So yeah. And then videos. It's been a little while since I've done a video. I filmed a video for my other channel on doing like a drywall repair, like a quick and dirty repair. That it looks alright. On video, it kind of sucks because on video you can tell I did the repair, but in person you can't. So it's like, this is terrible because the camera is catching everything. But it was a hole in my wall that I did like when I first moved in. I had to run power from my wall panel, my circuit breaker box. I ran new wiring to the garage and put another circuit breaker box out there when I first moved in, and I couldn't get to the circuit breaker box because it's in the drywall. So I had to like punch a hole in the drywall to be able to get to it. And then it's really been like that for the last like 5 years. So I finally got around to last week fixing that, and I did the new drywall, mudded it, painted it, and made a video for the other channel. But anyways, that kind of will transfer to the fish room because now I have power out in the fish room, so I can redo all the wiring out there, add outlets, and be prepared for this remodel, I guess. I guess that's really what it is, a remodel with ripping down the walls and putting in insulation and re-drywalling it. All new power because the power that's out there is very shady. Just how they have one circuit running the garage, my current fish room, and then part of the wall in my family room shares one circuit. I think it's just too much, and especially like with the garage, if you're using power tools, like saws that have a high amp draw, it trips the circuit breaker. So running all new wiring, all new outlets, just try and do it right. John says, I got most of the equipment in for my plant tank. Going to have it up and running soon. Plant tanks are awesome. Oh, so that's why, squirrel! So the other video I'm working on is doing a shrimp setup tank. So a few people, like a handful, were asking about setting up a shrimp tank, if I could do a video. And the tank that's like right over here, the thumbnail of this video, is going to be a Blue Dream shrimp tank here. This tank has been empty for, oh gosh, it's probably been going on almost a year now. It did have a beta fish in it, and then I sold it, and then it just had nothing. So the tank's looking really good right now, and the beginning of the video, it was terrible because it was so dirty. When I started like moving rocks and plants around, it stirred up a lot of detritus that was in that gravel. So I had to like do a 200% water change and gravel vac it really good, and it's looking really good now, and I'm ready to put some shrimp in it. So I just got to really move some shrimp into it, record that process, and I think I want to do something a little bit different. So with my shrimp, I'll just net them and plop them into this tank. Same water, no issues. But being that this is like how to set up a tank, I think I want to show in the video how to do a drip acclimation for shrimp. And that way, so if you're ordering shrimp online, if you buy them from a local store, if you buy it from a hobbyist that's local or whatever, you'll know how to drip acclimate them, and it's super easy. It temperature acclimates and gets them, gets them acclimated to your water conditions. But shrimp tanks are super easy, and this is a really small tank. I think it's 3 or 4 gallons. It's not very big. It's got a Phoenix Nano hang-on back filter. It does have a nano planted light, Fluval 3.0 on it, which is a high power light, but I specifically am running it because it looks nice on a rimless tank. And you'll see all that in the video. And I think it'll just be a fun little tank to have in here in the office. Jennifer Park says, laters people, hair dye time. See you, Jennifer. Thanks for swinging by. Okay, my chat jumped. I'm going to try to scroll back up to wherever I was. Von Yinzer's here. Hello. Matt Reed, worst fish keeping incident. Matt, actually, I have a video of what I would probably consider my worst fish keeping incident. And let me grab the video link, and then you can watch it later. It's actually a playlist of my first fish import. When I first started switching over to becoming a business, and holy crap, the video quality is terrible when I used to use the webcam. Everything's really dark, but advanced in the video. Anyways, let me see if this is the correct video. I was so excited because just getting into the business, I placed a wholesale fish order from California. Ordered, I don't even remember how many fish I ordered, but it was my first buy-in order basically. And what I thought I was doing, not doing right, but I made a mistake. And long story short is I rushed to get the tank set up, and the temperature difference, I didn't acclimate them long enough because I was always so nervous about wholesale fish, about them coming in terrible. You always want to get fish out of the bags because of ammonia spikes, get them into their fresh water, plop and drop. Well, so I didn't acclimate them. I basically plopped and dropped them, and the issue was the tanks were fresh set up like the night before, and the water was tap water cold. And basically, I tried to let it sit for 24 hours to warm up. It did warm up, but it didn't get warm enough, and I thought it was close enough. So my incident was the tank water was 5 degrees colder than what they were in, and I wasn't knowledgeable enough to know. I thought 5 degrees, that's not a big deal. It's only 5 degrees. So I plopped and dropped them all, and I lost majority of that order. Basically, I shocked them. That 5 degree difference was enough to shock them all, and I lost majority of the fish. But there's a playlist, so if you go to my YouTube channel, go playlists, and it's like first import like fish order, and that's the videos to watch. Might be boring. I think there's like 6 videos of basically how that whole first order progressed, and yeah, that's probably my my worst incident. My not so worst incidents, but incidents in general, is flooding the fish room. I see Big Rich is here. Good to see you, Big Rich. Was actually the last one was I have two 55-gallon drums in my fish room that I let water sit in. It basically takes the tap cold water, I fill them, and then I let them room acclimate during the week before I do my water changes. And then I have, let's say, 100 gallons of same temperature water to do my water changes. Well, it's a manual. I turn a valve, the barrels start filling up. Well, I turn the valve, start filling up one of the barrels, and Ohio Fish Rescue went live one night, and I squirreled, got distracted, started watching Ohio Fish Rescue, and I'm like, what's that noise? It sounds like a waterfall. And as soon as it clicks, like waterfall, I'm like, oh no, I'm filling up the barrel, because the barrel sits like 6.5 feet off the ground. Like, it's up against the ceiling in my fish room, so that water overflows straight to the ground. So it's a waterfall. And so I flooded my fish room during an OFR live stream, and so I had to sit there and vacuum that all up before my live stream. But I've done that a handful of times where I should know better, but honestly I just squirrel and I forget that I'm doing something and I'm leaving water run, and I overfill the barrels. But when I do the garage, that's one of the top things I want to do is automatic water top offs on my barrels. So it's no longer manual valves. I'll let the barrels top themselves off with a float switch automatically, so that way if I use a gallon, it will top off a gallon, and the temperature swings won't be as bad, and it takes out the human error. But flooding is probably my most common issue. And knock on wood, I've never have had a tank bust on me. I think it was Von Yinzer had one. So I did a members only live stream this week. So if you're not a member, I'll just let you know I did do, it was like an hour and a half long live stream. I forget the day. It might have been Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday, and I only have like 15-ish members. Like, there's not that many members, So it was actually a lot of fun. One of my members, Mike, actually said the live stream was a lot of fun because it's basically uncensored. It's not public, so YouTube can't count anything against me. So like, I don't want to say I was cussing, but I was letting things flow, and it was just a lot of fun. We were talking about work and fish things going on around here. It was really more real. I feel like would be the best way to describe it, because I'm not. I was just talking to friends. I wasn't trying to talk about like business, because YouTube it's a business for me. I try to be honest with you guys. I'm trying to not work on cars the rest of my life. I want this aquatics business to eventually take off. But right now I still have to work full time to be able to afford to buy products to be able to sell. But eventually I would love to have YouTube take off to where that will supplement the fish business. And if the fish business takes off, then I don't have to work on cars the rest of my life. So that's the end goal. But YouTube is a business. So you will get ads popping from my mouth about, this is what I'm selling, but I want to make it educational. Speaking of test strips, Mrs. Metalhead Prime is, let's say unofficially right now, but we'll make it official here soon, is blog writing for my website, 614fish.com. She just sent me her first blog article. I think it was yesterday. It was really good. It's kind of short and sweet, which is nice. And I converted it to a blog. It's just like an email. I converted it to blog format for the website. Added a picture, and basically what it's about is, it's not about test strips, but it's about the master test kit. And it's just like a quick, less than 5 minute read. Like, let's say 3 minutes, you can read it. Like, if you've never bought a master test kit, it's not for you guys. If you're watching this live stream, you're a hobbyist level, or like beginner advanced level, like not advanced, but like beginner up. But the blogs are supposed to be for when people Google fish store or whatever, they come to my website and they don't know anything about fish at all. They don't even know they're supposed to test water, and they're like, what's this API master test kit? Well, there's a blog article that tells you, it's for testing water. Make sure that your fish are in the cleanest or best water conditions possible. And it basically just tells you, like, inside the kit, there's a booklet that gives you detailed instructions. It's not an actual instruction blog. Like, you take I got one sitting here. Take glass tube, fill to line, add 5 drops of this, add 5 drops of this. It's not that. It's not an instruction manual. It's kind of like a quick blog saying, like, hey, you'll get glass tubes. Kind of like a product description, but not just a product description, a little bit more fun to read. And she did a really good job at it, and I'll probably actually post it this weekend. So it's pretty much ready to go. I want to send her the link to the blog first so she can read it, just do a double proof, which I'm sure she did really good with English in school, so she's a good writer. And I like to get more educational stuff. But like I'm saying with ads, I do sell the API Master Test Kit, so there will be a link at the end of the blog. Like, if you're interested in buying it, here's the link. It just makes sense trying to run a business, right? I'm just saying, hello, first time here, love it already, 100. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat for your first time being here. I appreciate that so much. Welcome. You're new. I've been getting a lot of new people this past few weeks, which is awesome. Quick rundown. So a lot of you guys know who I am. If you don't know who I am, especially since you're new here, I'm Steven, SC Aquatics. I live in Columbus, Ohio. Started off as a hobbyist, and then decided to start selling things online, and then kind of started growing from there. Right now we're in my office. There's a 55-gallon acrylic tank with plecos. I'm, I guess, trying to breed. They technically bred already because I have one baby in there somewhere. But I basically sell fish foods, fish, snails, and shrimp. I do a lot of work with my best buddies at the Ohio Fish Rescue. I was just actually up there last weekend, and I'll probably be up there sooner than later, because I like going up there and hanging out with my friends. This I didn't have anything really going on. I was delivering if you guys saw my short video, I bought 10 albino iridescent sharks. Those were for Clinton. If you guys know who Clinton is, it's a friend of Ohio Fish Rescue. He does a lot of work with them. He's got a bunch of monster tanks. He wanted 10 albino iridescents. I know he's got the homes for them, so I had no problem special ordering them. But I basically hand delivered them because I could have shipped them for cheaper because it costs money to go to Cleveland and back with driving a pickup truck. But it gave me a couple hours to hang out at the rescue, and we literally just kind of hung out and chatted. It was nice. There was no projects going on, just hanging out with my friends. And Big Rich is an awesome dude. He's honestly kind of like the crazy uncle of my family. Like, not that he's crazy, but like that's how I view him. I don't view him as like a friend. He's almost more like family. And that's how I view like Josh and basically everybody that's at OFR. It's all kind of like family. So I enjoy going up there just to kick it, right? So yeah, Friday nights are my live streams. I go live at 8:30 p.m. Basically after OFR or during OFR if Big Rich is still going on. But I just try to stick to 8:30, whether or not anything's going on. Now, if OFR for some reason ends early, I try to go live early, but the set time is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, like I said, I did do a members-only live stream this week, and it was supposed to be like a 15-minute live stream. I was testing out some equipment, which kind of worked, but it ended up being like an hour and a half long live stream, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm not probably going to do that every week because 2.5 hours of live streaming every week will be quite a bit, and I'd rather devote that time to something else. I don't want to say more productive, but things have to get done around here. I currently have somewhere around 55 fish tanks, and working full time and then taking care of 55 fish tanks is like a part-time job in itself with feeding them. Not necessarily cleaning. I run pretty much every tank is planted in some way. It's not like an aquascape planted tank, but there's plants in each tank to help reduce water changes. So I'm not doing heavy water changes or anything like that, but feeding fish. I do have a lot of auto feeders, but I still have to monitor 55 tanks every day. So, let me, my chat jumped. Big Rich always talks about this too. It's a real thing. Just like you scroll the thumb wheel once to go down a few lines, and then it goes straight to the bottom of the chat, and then you gotta go back to wherever you were, because I don't want to miss any questions. Von Yunzer says, yes, it was me. Von Yunzer, I hope you figured it out. Von Yunzer had a 55-gallon tank seam leak from, if I remember correctly, that was during my members only live stream, I think. And luckily he was around when it basically popped, and he was able to get the fish out and move them over. He said, I did buy a bunch of silicone and wood glue to put things back together. So before you think like wood glue in a fish tank, his stand got water damage, so he's got to fix the stand. I'm assuming that's where the wood glue is going. Patty said 63 peeps up in here. Yep, we are at 64 right now, so that's awesome. And I think the record, I mentioned it the other week, I wasn't positive, but the record right now I think is 80. 80 people, which is crazy because a year ago it was like 20, so working my way up. And Von Yezer said, aquarium safe silicone. Yep. GE1 is what I sell and recommend, and I actually just opened a new case because somebody ordered some. I do sell it. You can get it, I'll be honest, you can get it cheaper if you can find it locally, but I sell it to people online because some people just want to place an order for fish food, and they're like, oh, I need to reseal a tank, or I want to keep a tube on hand for emergency, and I just give them the option, like, hey, I'm sure it's cheaper locally, but I do sell it on the website. But GE Silicone 1 is what I recommend. It has no additives for mold. So if you don't know, silicone doesn't have to say it's fish tank safe. Fish tank safe silicone is just 100% silicone that's marketed for fish tanks. It's this that just says fish tank on it, right? GE1 is not GE2. GE2 has a mold inhibitor in it. 100% silicone. If it's 100%, it means there's no additives. But another thing you can watch out for is if it says anything about mold on it, it's got an inhibitor in it. You don't want that. Just 100% silicone. It can be any brand in the world, a legit brand. Let me say that, not like Wish.com silicone, but any good brand, as long as it's 100% silicone with no mold inhibitors, you'll be good to go. But GE1 is tried and true, tested, works great. That's what I recommend. Yeah, and I always recommend, even if you like need a little bit of silicone, buy the tube size. They sell like the little ones. Don't buy the little ones. Oh, guys, let me show you a product that I think I need to advertise. I never did like an ad on it, so it hasn't been selling well, but I think it's, per value, this is the best thing you're going to get. But the other thing is pretty sweet, and let me grab it. Okay, I'm back. This whole room's like a stock wall. So you got the tube, and then like you can buy the Aquarium sells like the little like mini toothpaste tube ones. And this is not the only thing, or this is not only used for resealing tanks. So you're like, well, I don't have glass tanks, or you know, I don't plan on them busting, or it's a 10-gallon. These are also used for decorations. I use this to put rock formations together. You can also use super glue. Silicone is super cheap per volume, so you can use it to stick rocks together to make a rock mound. Backgrounds to a tank, if you got like a 3D background, I made foam ones, use that. But you can silicone a bunch of decorations. You could probably even do it for plants. I like super glue for plants personally. But so there's this, and then they sell those like little tubes. And then I found this. It's like a toothpaste soft bottle of GE Silicone 1. This is great if you got a small project where maybe you don't have a caulk gun. I kind of paused on that so you guys don't get all excited. If you don't have a caulk gun, so that you maybe this intimidates you or something. Well, this is unscrew the cap. You cut the tip of the needle off, and you're good to go. But it's in a squeeze tube. Like, I thought this was super awesome. But per volume, this is still a better deal, I'll be honest. But this is like super handy. Maybe I need to do an email to the email subscribers in case people don't know about this. But this is one of the things that I guess I've used them, but I haven't used them for fish things. I've actually used them in the house for like sealing faucets and doing drywall or baseboards. I didn't ever thought of this, but like with baseboards, I noticed when I bought the house, they siliconed between the baseboard and the wall, like the drywall, and then when you paint it, you don't get that like literally big gap. It actually looks really clean. I've actually used these around the house a lot. But anyways, my point is you could buy one of these. Here's my ad pitch. You could buy one of these and keep it like in your junk drawer in case you ever have anything in your house go bad, but buy it for your fish. Done with that ad. Anyways, let's get back in the chat. I'm getting all over the place. Kelbell said, I joined this chat last week for the first time and I really enjoyed it. I liked when he carried us around to show us the tanks. I'm really wanting to get Christmas moss now after he showed us his. Well, it's always for sale because I always grow it like crazy. Christmas moss is one of the things I grow in-house. It's not like I don't import it. A lot of my plants are imported because I sell them quicker than I can grow them. And in the long run, it's cheaper for me to buy them from the plant farm in Florida, have them shipped up here. These Amazon swords that you see, there's two big plants. I never know how much is showing up. I guess there's two big plants. Those would be like extra large like ginormous versions. And then these are the ones I buy. So they don't sit like in a holding tank. They go into an aquarium. They're basically doing two things for me. they're here so I can sell them, but they're also here keeping my tank water clean for me. Like, why not? Like, why not use them until they sell? And what that also benefits you guys is that the root systems are growing like crazy. Um, you won't be able to see this, I don't think. In front of that Pleco cave, yeah, you won't be able to see it. I don't know why I'm even telling you. The roots are actually coming up past the Pleco cave. Like, they're growing like gangbusters. And when you buy plants online, the better the roots, the better off you're going to have with the plants surviving. Most of the time when you buy plants online, they melt when you put them in your tank. You get the plant, it looks super nice, right? You put it in your tank, and like within the week, you're like, it's dying. Like, oh, this plant sucks, this person sucks. It's actually pretty normal. The plants are really, I don't know the word. They're very susceptible to melting when they transfer water like that. But the roots, as long as you have a good root system, that plant's going to come back. A lot of my plants that come from the farm, from Florida, I say the farm, it's in Florida, they're all grown immersed, which means above water. So basically the roots sit in water troughs, but the leaves and the stems of the plants are above water because they're pulling carbon dioxide from the air, CO2, all day long. They get the sun, the UV. They grow like super fast. The problem is, like, they come into a fish store, whether it's local, whether it's me, aquarium co-op, all these plant stores. They buy them, they're immersed grown. They go into water. They got to convert to submerged grown because the plants, a lot of plants have two different versions of their leaves. Like an Amazon sword intake might look completely different grown out of water. So those plants basically die off and then they grow back, and it's called submerged grown. I'm basically doing that for you until they're bought. So, yes. I don't even know, but Christmas moss. Christmas moss, that started off as a like 3-inch by 3-inch mat I bought when I got into the hobby from my local fish store, and it grows like crazy in my water. So I just put it in every single tank, and it under extreme high light, it doesn't like carpet. It gets really compact and it looks really awesome. And you said you liked when I took you around to show you. I can do that again tonight. I am on my cell phone, so we'll do that. Scroll in. I was thinking of Severums. Did I miss? Okay. Tim said, I just got some blue Acara. What are good tank mates for them? There are 4 and it's 150 gallon. Okay, so I actually used to have electric blue Acara. That's actually what got me into the hobby. I started with 2 in a 75 gallon. And 2 of them were not enough in a 75 for me. So I ended up getting 2 polar blue convicts. So they did fine together. I'm trying to think. I ended up getting a 3rd Acara that was a rescue. Somebody was moving. They had 1 electric blue Acara. I took it. And then I started getting some pairing issues. They basically got territorial. No, like, damage or anything. No one died. But you can tell, like, the original 2, well, I don't know if it was the male or female, but when the new one came in, they broke up. They were like, we're getting divorced. I like this new hotness that came in. So the new fish and one of the originals kind of went off and did their own thing. And that's all I kept in that tank. But really, with the Acaras, I would stick with, like, Cichlids. My Acaras were actually pretty good. And what was nice is they left my Snails alone. It wasn't until I got those stupid convicts that they killed all the snails in that tank in my 75, which sucked because anytime I had convicts, which I still have black convicts now, they always kill the ram's horns, and the tanks always get algae. All my tanks that don't have algae have snails in them, and I don't ever have to scrape glass. It's super awesome until there's convicts, and then they always kill the snails. But yeah, I would stick with convicts. I'm not a huge convict guy, so I don't really have a specific recommendation. But 150 gallons big, so you can definitely fit more. If you only got 4 cars, you can definitely put quite a few more in there. And then always with cichlids in general, eyesight blocks, make sure you got some rocks in there so they can get their little territories going, and then you should keep aggression down. Okay, I think I'm catching up. OFR said, yo, Steven, you coming up this weekend or next weekend? I'm not coming up this weekend. I actually have to work tomorrow, so I will not be up this weekend. Maybe next weekend I'll come and kick it. I know I'm probably behind in the chat, but if you're still here, OFR, maybe next weekend. No plans. I just figure I'd be coming up at some point. Get out of the house, because really I don't get out of the house just because with all the pandemic going on, there's, nobody goes to the bar and hangs out anymore, or goes and does anything really, so it's just kind of boring. So it's nice to get out, but yeah, I'll definitely come back up. And I heard the metalheads will be up there, so maybe I'll come up that weekend and hang out with everybody. I think you said it was like the 26th, 27th, 28th maybe, so not this weekend, not next weekend, but the weekend after. So maybe I'll come up that weekend, hang out. Okay, my chat jumped. Hopefully. Patty says 614 the Ohio Outlaws. What does that mean? Yeah, my chat's super all over the place. But anyways, I got a super chat for Von Yenzer for the 614 super. It says, just because, thanks for all you do. Von Yenzer, I appreciate you, bud. Thank you so much. Ohio Fish Rescue says, Steven, how does Gorilla Glue help my cycle? Well, if this was not family friendly, I would have an answer for you. But I'm gonna just leave that one alone. Matt F with a scroll, yes. Oh gosh. Patty, of course, talking about extenders for caulk guns. I'm just saying, he says don't use Gorilla Glue. I haven't heard anything wrong with Gorilla Glue, actually. Oh, by the way, if you guys have any questions, tag me, because it'll make it a little bit easier for me to get through all these chats. I try to answer everybody as I can. Dougie says, love you, Steven, but I wish it started before 2 a.m. Yeah, I do have actually quite a few people overseas that watch me, and 2 a.m. is late. I'm never up that late. Even when I go OFR, we're having a great time. I'm usually, I know for New Year's Eve, like 1 a.m. hit, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. Josh and his buddies were up super late. I don't know if it was like 5 or 6 a.m. they stayed up to. I made it to like 1 a.m. and I'm like, I'm going to bed, guys. See ya. I'm like, I'm old now. I can't hang with you guys. Okay, Kel Bell says, can we see the snails? I think last week you mentioned about nearite snails, and they don't take over the tanks as fast. They don't take over the tanks at all. And we'll go walk out there. So nearite snails only can hatch their eggs in salt water. or maybe it's brackish, but not in freshwater. Excuse me. They will lay eggs in your tank, and you'll see these like white little dots on the glass. They'll do it on rocks or decorations. My current neorites that I have, they must be males because I'm not getting eggs anywhere, which is great. Or maybe females will only lay them if there's a male around, because these snails are like pretty much like one per tank. So if you buy one neorite snail, you'll only ever have one, unless it dies or whatever. But that's the best part about neorites, and they actually have these like little teeth, and they do really, really good jobs at cleaning glass. Anyways, let's go take a walk. Change this up a little bit. Hopefully I'm not missing super chats, guys. I do apologize. But yeah, I'll show you a neorite snail, and you can see what it looks like. Mainly all my snails are ram's horns. So the ram's horns, I'll show you these because they're right here. Whoa, we got like a little pyramid going. These are ram's horn snails because their shell looks like a ram's horn, I guess. So yeah, that's like what I use in most of my tanks. You can see them in all these tanks, right? Try not to move the phone too quickly and make you guys sick. Alright, now I gotta find, so this tank has a neorite, but I'm probably not gonna see it because it's only got one and it's probably hidden. This tank's got a neorite. Let me see if it's, yep, it's out. Okay. Flip. So this was a holding tank for my winter fish that go outside. It's got like a little rock in there and a Nubius plant just to help with water. But algae's growing, and you see there's like a patch in this algae. That's from the neorite. You can clearly see where the neorite's been. And there's like these little pond snails. They came in from the pond. They're also called like bladder snails or pest snails. Those guys suck at cleaning algae. There's a guy, I'm trying to look through algae at him. He's on top of algae, but you would never know it. Ram's horns leave little trails through the algae because they actually eat it, and neorites scrub it. But anyways, here's the neorite. He's about the size of a quarter. This is a tiger, which you're seeing his belly, so you can't really see his shell, which kind of sucks because there is a pattern to him. But they come in some different colors. There's olive ones, black ones, and then there's patterned ones. This one's a tiger. My most popular one is a zebra, which is like stripes. They're not super fast moving, but they do an awesome job. A really awesome job at eating. And there's the proof right there. But there's only one in this tank. And I don't think I'll be able to zoom in to show you, but if you guys, on my phone it looks okay, hopefully it's transferring. But you see the big black spot, that's his body. At the top up here, there's a little, on my phone it looks a little pink, that's his mouth. And if you pay attention, if you see the thing that almost looks like it's pulsating, that's his teeth. He's got 2 teeth. He's scraping the glass. That's why they do so good with the harder algae, because they can scrape it away, and that's why you get these patches like that. Usually you'll see like a zigzag line as they move up. He just kind of did donuts to do that. But yeah, that's a neorite, and they don't reproduce in freshwater, so they're really good if you're like anti-snails, but snails are so good at keeping glass clean. Neorites are the way to go. But the tanks over here, you know, with the ram's horns, the glass are clean, the plants are clean. I like ram's horns because they do reproduce. And I have no problem with that because I put them in other tanks. We'll go out the fish room. If I put them in other tanks, I use them as food for my puffers. I have 2 puffer fish. One is a pea puffer, and the other one's a Fahaka from Ohio Fish Rescue. His name's Bruce. It might be a little loud in here. I'll try to talk up. That's the air pump and then also dehumidifier running. The lights are turning off on here because they're all on timers. So let me show you Bruce's tank. And there's Bruce right there for the focuses. But you can see I dumped a ton of ram's horns in here. They're all over because it's a good food source. I don't think he's really eating them yet. I do have some smaller ones. Focus, like right there. Eventually they'll reproduce and there'll be little tiny ones for him. I'm trying to get focused on Bruce for you. But yeah, guppy tank. I know reflection, let me try to block it. But everybody's doing well. Check out this male guppy. I don't know where this guy came from. See if I can get you close without reflection, if he doesn't scare away. Might be impossible. He's actually like pearl, like iridescent almost. It's really cool. I'm going to try to keep him. Maybe start a breeding project with him down the road. I just fed all these tanks right before I went live. These are the albinos I talked about. I try to keep. Alright, so here's another tank. These have green cories. You can see they're eating. Kelbell, Bruce is a Fahaka puffer. So he'll get, I forget, I think it's up to 17 inches or something like that. Like over a foot long. Like they get decent size. They don't get as big as like Mabu puffers, but they do get decent size. But he's just a baby. Here's the Vienna guppies. You can see that female's looking nice and plump. There's also clown plecos I just picked up this week. I don't know where they're at. They're usually hiding under the sponge filter. They were out when I fed a little while ago. Oh, there's one right there. But yeah, they're pretty good at hiding. They're usually under the sponge filter, but I have a feeling there could be one down in these pots. I can't see. Anyways. Yep. It's really loud in here, so I don't know. I'm sure it sounds like crap on YouTube, so I don't want to be in there too long. If I plan on doing a stream from in the fish room, I'd turn the pumps and stuff off so it's not as loud. To the office. So, get you back in the holder. Alright, let me get in the chat and see if there was any questions about the snails. Papa Shrimp said, Steven said I'm old. I feel like it, man. I feel like it. Scrolling. I'm trying to skip over the stuff. Killbell said I would honestly be happy with the all snail tank. They're awesome. The ram's horns, my friend was actually overnight with her daughter, and she has a red-tailed shark in her fish tank, and she's got some like pond snails, pest snails that came in on a plant or something, and she hates them. She does not like snails. She saw my ram's horn. She's like, "What snails are those? Those look awesome because they're pink and orange and red." And I'm like, "Oh, they're ram's horns." She's like, "Those look way better than the ones I got." I'm like, "Yeah, and they're super awesome because they eat algae." I'm not a fan of pond snails because I feel like they don't do much work. Not nearly as good. I mean, I'm sure they're eating algae and stuff, but definitely not as good as neorites or ram's horns. Matt said he's got 2 teeth. He's doing better than me. I'm scrolling. I would like ram's horns. I think I would like ram's horns. Then it would be neat to see the cycles of babies. Yeah, I mean, you'll see the little cluster of eggs on the glass, or I mean, they pretty much always lay it on the glass. You can have them lay it on plants or decorations, but typically it's glass. It's just like a little jelly pack of little tiny eggs, and then eventually they hatch out. And typically I don't even notice them when they're super small because a lot of times the fish will eat them. But the ones that do make it, I notice them when they're like the size of a ballpoint pen, tip, you know, about that size. And then they can get up to like quarter size shells, or at least the biggest ones I got right now are about 1/4 inch size. But if you ever end up having too many of them, you can do what I did and get yourself a pea puffer. It'll be like an only tank, so you know, I actually have mine with guppies, and he's doing fine with guppies, but it's a puffer. Even though they're tiny, they can eventually nip at other fish. But I have my pea puffer in with a bunch of guppies because that tank was overrun. I mean, overrun with pond snails. And he went to the buffet, the all-you-can-eat buffet, and took care of that like in just a few weeks. And the whole bottom of the tank is nothing but like empty snail shells. It's crazy, and it's crazy how big that pea puffer's gotten. He's got to be 3 times the size of Bruce as far as weight. You know, they might be the same length, but the pea puffer's definitely got size on them. And I was about to say something, but it would get us off the rails again, so I'm trying to be good. Willie Baker says, my Fahaka is about that size. Awesome fish. Yeah, I'm super excited for him to get bigger. I would like to see him, you know, it'd be sweet to see him full grown, but I want to see the process, and hopefully he puts on some size here soon. Matt said, I'm sorry, it's still Joshy for me. I never voted for Bruce. So the runner-up was going to be Pumpkin. A lot of people said they wanted Pumpkin as the name. I just couldn't do that to Josh. Especially, like, if somehow Bruce died for whatever reason. You know, the video of saying, you know, I killed Josh, or not Joshy, but I killed Pumpkin. I don't think Josh would appreciate it, but hey. Bruce was... I'm not saying Bruce had the most votes, but he was in the top 5. And out of the top 5 names, he was the one I liked the most. So that's why I went with him. He might have been even top 3. Patty with the 99-cent super sticker of poop. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate it. I appreciate the poop. I just saw, I think, a question. Salford Lad said, at SC, what are your opinions on tank age and optimal plant growth? Do you find a tank reaches an age that requires a substrate change, for example? Okay, so all my tanks are inert substrates. I don't have any planted tank substrates, and planted tank substrates would be your basically your volcano-based like fluval stratum. You got your Eco-Complete, stuff that holds nutrients in it really well. Typically those will lower your pH, but if it's a plant substrate, those do go inert. I think it's after like 2 years you're supposed to change it out. I use gravel and sand, so those have no effect on the actual like quality of plants because they're inert. They don't absorb like nutrients like the planted substrates do, and they don't like wear off. They just hold the root system. Now there's people out there that say sand is terrible for roots. I disagree. This is actually probably the worst case scenario. This is like extra fine sand. It's terrible. Don't use it. It's the black diamond blasting sand from like Tractor Supply Company. This is the fine version. Don't buy the fine version. It's too fine. It's a powder. It's a mess. But the whole theory is sand gets really compacted, and gravel does too. And the easiest way you can see this for yourself is don't gravel vac for a while, and then start gravel vacuuming your tanks, and you'll notice your substrate's a little bit thicker because the rocks are now kind of spread out and they're not settled. But sand has that like times 20 because there's smaller granules, they can compact. I don't have that issue with plants. My jungle vowel, which shoots runners, my dwarf hairgrass, which shoots runners, microsword, they all shoot runners in fine sand. I have no issues with it. I think it's just like one of those misconceptions. Sure, maybe they do better in gravel. You got a little bit more room for the roots, but I have no issues with the roots growing in the sand. And the way I look at it is like dirt gets compacted outside and plants grow fine in dirt. That's why like you're supposed to till it to get like oxygen back into the dirt and turn it over. But compacted dirt still grows plants. So I don't really have an issue with that at all. Um, so I don't have to change out my substrate. Now with if you were running, like I said, a planted substrate, probably at the 2 year mark, you might want to like change out some of it. That would probably help boost your plant growth. But the biggest thing with plants for me is light and fertilizer. So my big like my ponds and my big tanks, I use dry fertilizers, which are Nilo Aquatics, and they come in like 1 pound bags, and then I mix them to a certain ratio, and that's what I fertilize with. Small tanks, I just use my 614 liquid fertilizer because it's super easy. Go 1 pump, 10 gallon, 1 pump, 10 gallon, 20 gallon, 2 pumps, and then I'm done. So I use my liquid fertilizer for that, and then lighting's a big deal. So I ran a test a long time ago, and there's a video on my YouTube about running a plant light for 24 hours a day. It's not even a plant light. It's actually for a saltwater tank for non-corals. It's a fish only with live rock light, a Fowler light. So it's basically to light up your tank but not really grow anything in it as far as saltwater. I didn't know what it was when I bought it, and then after I bought it, so it's actually kind of blue. It doesn't have like the spectrum lighting. And I leave that light on 24 hours a day on my sump in my fish room. The sump has plants in it. They do great. 24 hours a day. I never turn the light off. Those plants get non-stop light. But the thing is, it's on a flow-through system, so there's 10 tanks above it that go to that sump. So it's getting constantly fed nitrates from the tanks above. So it's got a constant source of food. Now, if I ran that light for 24 hours a day and it had no nitrates because it ate it all, then those plants are going to suffer. That's when you're going to start seeing deficiencies in the plants. But these plants don't have deficiencies. They just grow. So I think lighting has a lot to do with it. Now, that light is a crappy light for plants, so having it on 24 hours might be like a normal 8-hour cycle on a good light. My favorite light, hands down, is the Fluval Planted Light series, the 3.0s. They just grow everything. This is a Phoenix Stingray, and it's growing these Amazon swords just fine. So, you know, a lot comes into plants with, like, depth of your water, is it a powerful light, stuff like that. But I think as long as you're fertilizing, even if the tank's 5 years old, as long as you're fertilizing it correctly and you got good light, plants should just keep growing. And then as long as you're not choking out the plants, because there's some tanks, the jungle tanks, where it's like nothing but plants. Eventually, you're going to have issues with plants melting off because they're not getting enough light because they're getting choked out. As far as substrates, I think you're fine. Patty. Oh, Patty. Was that Christmas moss with the guppies? Yes. So out in the fish room, all those tanks have Christmas moss. Pretty much, I think all the tanks do. Even the cichlid tank, the convict cichlids have moss in it. Kel Bell said, can I request just pink ones? So actually, that's the ones I try to ship out. I try to ship only pink ones. The brown ones are typically what I use for puffer food. So I'm kind of like culling out brown ones just because I think the pink ones look really nice. So that's why I try to ship out anyways. IHSP, yes they do. Or mollies, they will eat the babies and the adults will die off as they get old. If you're talking about puffers, and with the guppies, yeah, I mean, there's so many snails in that tank, the pea puffer hasn't had to chase down any guppy fry because there's so many pond snails. Now, when those pond snails, eventually they'll run out because he's a little pig. When they run out, guppy fry will be on the menu. Levi's here. Hey, Levi. Good to see you, buddy. My chat jumped again. Matt Reed said, at SEO Aquatics, favorite fish? That's a hard question, and it's funny when I hear that pop up on other YouTubers' channels, like when somebody asks them what's their favorite fish. I'm always like, man, I should have that answer ready for like when somebody asks me that. And to be honest, it really changes. So I think my favorite fish really isn't fish, would be shrimp. Shrimp are like my go-to, like that's my love in the hobby, is freshwater shrimp. Like they're just fascinating to watch, and how they're always, they eat nonstop, so they're always, picking at stuff. But actual fish, it's really tough. I think it changes weekly. It honestly changes whenever I get something new. Like when I got giant Danios that were from Ohio Fish Rescue, somebody, they needed rescue, so OFR took giant Danios. Well, they're nano fish compared to what OFR normally keeps. So I got them. I took them home from OFR. I take home, I don't want to say a lot of small fish, but if they have an abundance of small fish, I'll take them, and they live here. I have a community 75 gallon, which is kind of like the OFR community tank. It's got a bunch of fish from OFR in it. But giant Danios they're definitely in my top 10. But they were my favorite for a while because they remind me of rainbows. They're super hardy, but they look like rainbows. They swim like rainbows. They feed like rainbows. And they look good. They're not colorful like rainbows, but they have like a good pattern to them. But giant Danios are on my top 10. And that was never in my top 10 because I never kept them before. It wasn't until I kept them. But Mabu Puffers in there. I really like Mabu Puffers for their personality. I honestly like the blood red parrotfish, the parrot cichlids. Like high quality red parrots. I don't know, there's something about like their little faces when they're staring at you, like they're like little puppy dogs almost. I don't know, there's something about those, but a lot of people hate them, and they're in my top 10. Like they're one of my favorite fish. I've never kept them. I just see them whenever I go OFR. Now there's a couple that have kind of like more of a snout. Like I'm not a fan of like the elongated faces. I like the more round, the chubby cheeks. Like I think those are awesome. I don't know. I like guppies. I do a lot of different guppies, but I wouldn't say it's like my favorite fish. It's an easy to breed fish. It's fun to breed because when you start getting into line breeding and culling out traits, like this fish doesn't have the right pattern, it's going to be a muck guppy tank fish or whatever. That's a lot of fun, especially after, when you really think about it, after years of working with a certain line, you can really see where you come from. If you ever get into line breeding, take a bunch of pictures, every few months of your fish, so you can see like, wow, I really started with that, and this is where I'm at now. Like I've done a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I really like stingrays, so that's one of my bucket fish. The other fish I really like, I love Mabu Puffers. After, the late Pittsburgh, RIP. After, seeing him for the last couple of years of going to OFR, it's like a fish I would definitely keep at one point, but it's not like my bucket list fish. It's like something that like, oh, I have to have one. Like I'm working to get 1,000-gallon tank for just a Mabu Puffer or something like that. That's not it. But one of my bucket list fish that I do want to get is freshwater stingrays. I really enjoy watching them. Once again, every time I go OFR, I would really love to have some stingrays one day. So yeah, I know, not a specific favorite fish, but many. Matt S. said pumpkin was my vote. It was a lot of people's votes. Patty. Patty, I'm reading your chats just so you know. I'm just not reading them out loud. Oh gosh. Oh man. Let's see, this would be a good members only live stream because of the chat content. Mr. Fisher, Steven, do you have the 614 liquid fertilizer in stock yet? I don't have it in stock yet. It should be soon. I'm hoping within a couple weeks or a week. Hopefully soon. The order is in, so it's however long it takes to get manufactured. Usually it's within 2 or 3 weeks, so hopefully soon. Bell says puffers honestly have the cutest faces of any fish, I think. Puffers are awesome because of their eye movements. So like the pea puffer and the fahaka, they're swimming, looks like a fish, but when they come up to the glass to look at you and those eyes kind of rotate forward, especially when they're about to eat something, they rotate forward and then they actually kind of like look down. I think you're right, it is cute, it's super awesome. And again, what you said with the parrotfish, I think they also, like when they're like the chubby cheek ones, I think they do have a good look to them. But yeah, I would definitely agree with pufferfish being like that. The other fish that it might be a top 10 hated fish for people, but Jake, the Randa goldfish I have, I think that's the only 2 fish I have with names is Bruce and Jake. But Jake, the Randa, I think there's something about that like round lion's head that I think is kind of cute, and when he comes up to the glass. There's the other fantail goldfish in there. I'm not a fan of him at all. Like, it's a good fish. I don't know, I've never been a big fan of fancy goldfish. They just really haven't been my thing. But the Aranda goldfish, like, I can dig it. Like, I don't know, Jake's pretty cool. But I think he's got a cool face, too. Koi fish said, I just got 2 neorites. Have them in a tank for a few hours now. They don't smell. How long do you think it will be before they get active? So koi fish, it can actually be up to multiple days. Typically, let's see, it's only been a few hours. Honestly, I bet when you go to bed tonight, they'll be moving around. I know when I get them from my wholesaler, they say it can be up to like 5 or 6 days. I've never ever had a personal experience like that. Usually it's within the next day. Usually, like, I get the snails in, none of them are moving. I, go the day, go to bed, I wake up, they're all moving. Neorites have been, like, really hit or miss, though, as far as, like, I guess survivability would be the word. I've had them where they come in and I lose, like, all of them. If you bought them locally, you're good. Now, if they were ordered online, there's a possibility that you might lose them, but if they don't smell, that's a good sign. Neorites, in general, since they're a bigger snail, when they die, they will foul your water out in a heartbeat. So make sure that if you start noticing any smells, you get them out, because they will foul the water with a quickness. It's actually, I did a video, one of my it's not like in the import failed video playlist, it's just one of my import unboxings. I ordered a bunch of neorites. I don't remember how many, maybe 30 or something. And like a few of them must have died and it wiped out the whole bag. But as soon as I cut the tape to the outer box, I could smell them. Like through their shipping bag, through the outer bag of the whole box, through the styrofoam, through the cardboard. As soon as I cut that tape, I'm like, ugh, there is something dead in here. And as soon as I saw there were snails in that box, I'm like, it's the snails. They smell so bad. So bad. But I lost the whole order on that. There might have been like 4 or 5 survivors. But it was horrendous. Patty says that koi fish, neorites can lay around for long stretches, give them some time. Yeah, so usually what they'll do is you drop them in the tank, they might end up on their back or something, and their little trap door is shut, so you don't really see any movement, you don't really know. But like I said, usually within 24 hours, all mine have always been moving, but they say it can be up to like 6 days. I kind of doubt that. Like, there must be a reason they do say 6 days, because maybe some of them will just not move, but my theory is snails are always eating. Like, after a day, they're going to be like, all right, I want some food. I can't be in danger anymore. Yeah. Oh crap! Chat jump. I'm trying to scroll back up. Answer that. Answer that. I'm just going straight for the ones that people tag me at. Because holy crap, we've been streaming for 80 minutes now. HSP says, sorry SC, it derailed rather hard, but staying relatively kind of sort of tamish. Yeah, it's all in good fun. Matt said, we had a fish identical to Jake. He died yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Jake was another rescued fish. He was not from OFR. He was actually from a coworker that had 3 fancy goldfish. Jake the fantail, and there was this other one that I forget the kind it was, but it was another like fantail style in a 10-gallon tank. That the current tank that has my Barbados Corys. He had 3 in there, and he was not like a fish hobbyist. It was like they went to the pet store and like, oh, these goldfish are awesome, and then they got big, and he knew that they were too big for a 10-gallon, and he got tired of maintaining it all the time, so I got him. One of them ended up dying. It got a swim bladder issue that never corrected. I tried the whole P method, but it never corrected, and he ended up passing. The last thing I did was I did put him in a saltwater bath to see if that would help somehow with the swim bladder, but he ended up passing. But Jake and the other one have been doing good. I've had them for well over a year now. Matt F said my wife was heartbroken. Yeah, so my friend's daughter that was here tonight, she is 4 years old. She like was running around playing with Charlotte. She loves Charlotte. Everybody loves Charlotte. But she was running around playing with Charlotte, and then she was looking at all the fish tanks in the family room, and she went up to 75, and her mom said, "What's your favorite fish in there?" And of course, with the kids, it's gonna be a goldfish, but it wasn't Jake. It was the other one. Jake is very laid back and like just kind of like go up to the surface and just eat everything on the surface. Then he'll kind of just sink down, eat everything on the sand. The other goldfish will kind of swim back and forth. Well, she liked the other goldfish, and her mom said, "Why?" She said, "Because he swims funny. Because he's like a fantail. Like fancy goldfish are like they gotta be so inbred to get all these traits, right? So like." They got these fat little stubby bodies, and their tails are like longer than their bodies. Like I think it's not great. I think they're beautiful fish, but you know, with the fantail, they got the 4 tails. He basically waddles through the water, and he goes through spurts. So he'll be fine. All of a sudden, his body starts shaking, and he swims. And she thought that was cute, and so the 4-year-old liked the fancy tail, but yeah, you said your wife was heartbroken. Yeah, the fancy goldfish, those are like true pets. Like people buy them, they name them, and I can see that for sure. Koi fish that I would just plop them in. Yeah, I don't like acclimate snails. I just plop and drop them. So if you're like worried about that, that's all I do. Geek Boy said, I'm pretty sure my pea puffers are plotting to kill me. Every time I turn around, 6 of the 7 are at the front of the tank staring at me. They start to wander away when I'm looking. Yes, pea puffers are awesome. They have their little personalities to them. I just like their eyes. I especially like it when they start looking at food that once it's in the tank, like I said, with their eyes rotating forward. I think it's these cute little dudes. Chat jump, sorry guys. Bunions are alright. All I had one too many big riches on the OFR stream. Love y'all. Good night all. See you, Bunions. Thank you for the super chat earlier. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next week, and hopefully you get that 55 resealed. Oh, I jumped like back somehow way before. Alright, I think I'm almost at the end. Okay, I'm probably caught up. Anyways, guys, it's almost 10 o'clock. So that means it's been an hour and a half stream. So that's 3 hours of live streaming this week. Yeah, so thank you for all the members and the members that were in the live stream and the members that watched the replay if you didn't make it live. No guarantee that when the next one will be, but it was so much fun that I do want to do another one. I would prefer to do the members live streams on the weekend. It was like middle of the week. I redid the computer. My computer's been getting really slow. It's old. So I reformatted it, did a fresh Windows install. Well, I forgot it got rid of my streaming software. So I re-downloaded it, but all my settings were gone because I totally was dumb and forgot to save the settings before I redid the computer. So anyways, I did a members only live stream to test out the equipment. And that's what I meant earlier. I was testing out the streaming software because it was all messed up. So it was supposed to be 15 minutes. It went an hour and a half. But I think in the future, I'm going to try to do that on the weekend. Mainly because it's more freedom for me to do long live streams. Because during the week, an hour and a half long live stream is rough in the sense of my time at night. So when I get home from work, feed the dogs, do dinner, and then it's do house chores, laundry, whatever needs done, and then the 55 fish tanks, and then try to go to bed so I can start the next day all over again. Well, with an hour and a half live stream, because I used to live stream Wednesdays, and now I do it Friday nights, way better. I'd much rather stream on a Friday night. I do have to work tomorrow, but normally I don't have to work Saturdays. I work one weekend a month. It's actually every 5 weekends, I think now. Anyways, I'm gonna call it night tonight. I gotta work tomorrow, but maybe I'll do another members only live stream this weekend. We'll see how it goes. Probably, most likely Sunday. Sundays would be a great day for me to do member only live streams. And I'd rather do them more in the afternoon, but it kind of depends on what's going on. So no guarantees when, just letting you guys know. But I will do a community post if I do a live stream this weekend. And I'll give you guys a notice, and hopefully notifications and all that fun crap will go out. But thank you guys so much. Thank you for the new people that were here. Thank you for all the super chats and super stickers. And I don't think we gained any members tonight. And if we did, I'm really sorry I didn't see it. But I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much. Until next Friday, keep taking along, guys. See ya. Have fun. Stay safe. Go get yourself a caulk gun. And hopefully you also get 6 inches of that white goodness of snow. I see you guys.